Oh. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Riley Puddin Peters, coming to you live with the doctor, defensive backs quality control coach, Preston Rowe. This is the Trash Talk Tailgate, and we are in the midst of a wild NFL playoff series. We have, the expected winners. You have the higher ranking seeds moving on, and you have an amazing underdog story. But the weekend starts Saturday, the first game, the Chiefs and the Texans. Dr. Preston, how'd you feel about Patty Mahomes and his boys getting it done?
Well, once again, as we see so often, it's like clockwork at this point, to be honest with you. Nobody knows how to cover Travis Kelce in the playoffs when it matters. You can't leave him covered one-on-one. And this game kind of played out exactly like most people probably thought. It was a low-scoring affair with the Chiefs and their amazing, tenacious defense just making plays when they absolutely had to. And this game had no turnovers. We always talk about turnovers, third down efficiency, and penalties. This game was won and lost, in my opinion, with the penalties for the Texans, because the Texans, they had 8 penalties for 82 yards. and the Chiefs had 4 penalties for 29 yards. And when these teams are that evenly matched, because like I said, no turnovers between the two of them, and the Chiefs were way worse on third down. They were 4 of 11 to the Texans 10 of 17. It comes down to penalties and not being able to make plays when you absolutely have to. When are teams going to learn to cover Travis Kelce? I don't understand it.
Yeah, man, it's insane. I know. I'll go back to the play that we were just watching, because that was definitely this play. When you talk about teams not covering Travis Kelce, this is like a spark moment.
Yes.
Right? The Texans, they're down by 3 points. It's been a brawl up in this point. We're about halfway through the second quarter at this point. And this absolute bust. That's one of the best players in the National Football League. They leave him wide open in the middle, and he's able to make a move on somebody and get big yardage. And it just, leads directly to a touchdown right there. Bang. It's that easy.
I understand not making the tackle because, he's very hard to tackle in open space. It's just leaving him that wide open to begin with. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, the fact that you left him that wide open is why that tackle was missed. It was because you give a guy like Travis Kelce space, he's going to make big moves. He's a playmaker. That's what he does. And so, they definitely gave up. Dropped the ball on that one, or dropped the coverage, I guess you'd say.
Riley, how often have I said it on this show? Especially in the playoffs, you have got to bracket him. You have to have a dude outside leverage and inside leverage at all times. You have to bracket him because, I know you have Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice is still hurt. He's out for the year. He is Patrick Mahomes' go-to receiver.
Yep.
And in the playoffs, bro, Travis Kelce continues to make teams pay for not doubling him, for leaving him wide open. You have got to bracket him. I don't get it, dog. I don't understand it. And once again, the Chiefs make you pay. They're going to make you pay. We talk about this all the time, Riley. They know how to win football games. That's a skill.
Yeah.
Knowing how to win these type of games, these playoff games, these big-time atmosphere, championship level games. That's a skill. And the Chiefs know how to do it. The Texans, obviously, I think they'll get there. They're a very young, talented team.
Yeah.
But it's the Chiefs, man.
It's the Chiefs, and it's the Texans with just a lot of stupid stuff. Like 9 sacks is insane, or 8 sacks, whatever it was. Like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like, letting that up, 8 sacks. Yeah, 8 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Crazy. No turnovers is impressive, but you're right, dude. Penalties, all this, it's mental stuff. It's the little things that make the difference between good players and great players. The in and outs, dude. This is day one things. And that's what they're slipping on, and that's what cost them this game. I mean, 23-14 is not an insurmountable final score. Like, they were in there pretty much the whole time. But CJ Stroud, I mean, he got rocked all night long by the pass rush from Kansas City.
He did.
And, it's just insane that Houston was not able to put up more points. Like, go back to that too, because they out yarded the Chiefs by 124 to be exact yards.
Yeah.
And then the time of possession was almost 10-minute difference, or 13-minute difference. The fact that the Texans weren't able to score when it mattered, just it left so much on the field that they should have capitalized on.
It's again, Riley, it goes back to the Chiefs know how to make plays when it matters, and the Texans, they didn't make those plays. And going back to what you said, dog, you know this, Riley, giving up 8 sacks, that's not all just offensive linemen getting beat physically. Like the D-line just out-muscled them and just took the game over. Those are mental errors. Those are busts in the offensive line, just not picking up your assignments.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. And Buck Rowe, what up, Buck? Welcome to the chat, buddy. Good to see you again. You're absolutely right, man. CJ Stroud, I mean, he literally averaged 1.5 seconds in the pocket all night long. And there's just the offensive line, the communication wasn't there. And, some of it is injury issues. You have the ups and downs of a season, a very long, grueling NFL season. And, there's guys that haven't played. This offensive line isn't 100% in check. But that's all that's the stuff you got to get past, man. When you're in the playoffs and you're making a run, if you can't get over that kind of stuff, you're going to get knocked out just like they did today, man.
Exactly.
But this is insane. I mean, how quickly he is just surrounded. I mean, he's on the run.
Riley,
he's gone. Get him. They got him.
I mean, Riley, those offensive linemen are backpedaling like they're DBs.
They're definitely playing DB drill, man. They've got a lot of space that they're giving up against very fast edge rushers to give Kansas City the credit. And Steve Spagnuolo, the absolutely insane defensive coordinator out there in Kansas City, the Chiefs Kingdom, they love Spags, and this is why when the moment matters, he dials up 8 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. That's insane. But it's crazy. I mean, football is a 3-faceted game. And the special teams are showing up too. You get this. Yeah. This is the end of the game. This was kind of icing on the cake kind of stuff for them.
Yep.
As they get a blocked field goal.
Yeah, because if you remember, Riley, the Chiefs purposely gave them a safety at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
And
so
so
it's that extra 14 if you see it.
Yeah, this game, it never felt like the Texans were in it after the second half. They had their opportunities. They just could not capitalize.
Let's look at the opening kickoff, man. This is the opening kickoff. We want to talk about ending the game on a field goal block. How about starting the game with an explosive return, dude? 63 yards. Could have housed it, had a chance, but had a fumble.
Yeah.
Samaje.
But again, bro, it's the Chiefs being heads up. They.
Yeah, and Samaje Perine, I mean, that's a vet, man. That is a vet, and he is there to make a cleanup play to make sure nothing else nothing else goes wrong on this road. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of bring it back, the Houston Texans, this was a fight. This was you can't say anything else.
No.
They left a lot of points on the board, lots of field goals. Not good. Oh, Buck wants to talk about two other things.
Yeah.
I mean, Houston did put together a drive made up of nothing but passes, and they didn't establish. Yeah, I mean, they didn't establish the run. They did definitely try. I mean, they went after the run, 18 carries for 88 yards out of Joe Mixon. Those aren't the worst numbers that you could get out of somebody, but it's one of those things where they just don't have enough weapons at this point with injuries.
No, right. I mean Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are both hurt. Nico Collins is their only reliable receiver.
And I saw I see Buck is saying it. I saw it too. There was some letdown, or I guess let off the gas out of some of the Texans wide receivers, especially towards the end of the game. When they were feeling more defeated, and that's just, it's true. You can't have that, dude. This is football.
No.
These are the highest level athletes in this sport, getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and play ball. And people giving up on plays like that is insane. It just doesn't look good for the sport. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make your coaches look good. It
makes your quarterback look bad. Because, Riley, you know this. Your quarterback is throwing it to a spot.
Yeah.
Based on the route and based on what the defense is giving you in terms of coverage, he is throwing it to a spot, and he expects you to be there.
Yeah.
And if you give up on a route, you're not going to be there. So it makes everyone look bad.
And there's nothing worse than watching wide receivers give up on, run blocking routes. A lot of times if you have a run play in your offense, the wide receivers, they tend to, mimic running real routes to kind of distract the corners before they go to blocking, unless otherwise told. And, there's nothing worse than highest level wide receivers giving up on the run support, because in this game, especially, it just that just made the difference. The Kansas City Chiefs defense with Steve Spagnuolo were able to jump on all those little cues. And like Buck says, and like it shows, smother that run game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. You can't abandon it, man. You cannot abandon the run game.
No.
Especially when it's not that. Yeah, you're 100% correct. And there's another thing to be said, though. They were having some success with the pass, and their offensive line was being kind of trash. So quick passes against an aggressive defense like you're going to face with the Kansas City Chiefs does make sense. But you're right. When you're having success running it, just because you get down from, almost what you'd say is extenuating circumstances, or at least you're just not able to finish, you gotta give yourself a chance to have some strategy. You got to keep trying to run the ball, spread them out, open up your play action, get your playbook open a little bit, and see what you can do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you and Buck have just been nailing it. They kind of abandoned the run game, even though Joe Mixon was having a decent game. It's just it's hard because whenever you do have a deficit like that, and especially when you're playing Patrick Mahomes and you know what he's capable of, you do feel a kind of sense of urgency to be like, shit, we need to get back in this game as quickly as possible. So you do tend to abandon the run. But that's the last thing you want to do. You need to still establish a physical presence up front and in the trenches. I mean, shit, dog. You saw what the Chiefs did? If they know you're not going to run the ball, they're just going to pin their ears back and go get C.J. Stroud. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not going to run the ball, it's going to be so much harder to pass it. You're going to have such a better scheme drawn up to get people out of position and to get holes in the defense to get the passes off. So running the ball effectively it's beneficial for you. It's beneficial
Yes.
for the offense as a whole. You run the ball to throw the ball. That is the classic adage of football. Where are you at, Houston? Why are you giving up on running the ball? Joe Mixon deserves these carries, especially in a game like the AFC Divisional Playoff Round. That he's a stud. Your team has relied on him and some of your other playmakers' abilities to show up in these big games and just do what they do. Joe Mixon is a dog. Let him get a chance. He got you 88 carries off, 88 yards off of 18 carries and a touchdown against a ridiculously tough Kansas City defense. And you're right, man. 8 points down, 10 points down, whatever it was, the various stretches in the game, they just gave up. And it's sad. Like, it's sad. It really is, man. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. You can never abandon the run like that. No,
right.
Buck's right. They panicked. They absolutely panicked.
Yeah, man. Yeah. A young head coach versus a coach that's so seasoned like Andy Reid.
Well, that was his 300th win, by the way.
Yeah, right? Man? Yeah. 300 wins. Santa's bringing a lot more in his big red sack. He's got all kinds of wins for you.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But the Texans, this is a learning game. This is the kind of game that you watch over and over and over again on the offseason and remind yourself of the pain that you felt and come back better, because there's just so many mistakes, so much that was left on the field, chances, opportunities, moments, plays, and people can cry dirty laundry all you want. I know that's the great meme when it comes to talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. It's how the refs are in their pockets. And I don't disagree. But you can't let the game come down to the zebras anyways.
No.
If you're letting the game come down to that, then you're missing something at the point too.
If you can't really blame the refs when your quarterback got sacked 8 times. I'm sorry.
You can't. You
can't. That's just straight up bullshit. That's copium. That's all that is. Copium. That's very hard copium. That is straight up Chinese copium.
Oh, but that's a thing that a lot of people will say just because they're playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs deserve the respect for what they've done to this point. I know they're the new Patriots and nobody likes them, but the run that they've put on to get here is very impressive. It needs to be respected, and I think the Houston Texans learned the hard way. I think they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna make a point about.
Yeah.
You know who you should really ask about running the ball against the Chiefs?
Who?
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, dude.
Just not in the second quarter. No. You know who you should ask about giving up running the ball against the Chiefs? Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan. Yep.
All right.
No, Buck, I think you're right. They definitely, that's going to be their number one priority this offseason is improving their offensive line.
Definitely needs to be improved. Yeah. I mean, they need depth. It's not even a gut scenario. I don't disagree. I mean, it needs a lot of work, but it's more of they need depth and they need to retool. They just need more. They had so many guys that missed significant portions of snaps throughout the season, and in an offensive line, that's just no bueno, man. It takes so much time to have that cohesiveness that it takes to be an elite offensive line, especially in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the more games guys miss, it's the harder it is.
Well, the Chiefs, they advanced to the AFC Championship game. We're really excited for that game, but the Texans, unfortunately, your season is over. And
have fun in Cancun.
Riley,
yes,
I'm gonna let you take this next one.
All right. Well, ready? Boom. Bye. Here we are. The Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions. You want to talk about a game? Let's talk about a game. You want to talk about the only team to win not one, road game. Actually, the only team to win one road game this playoff. But not only have they won one, they've now won two. The second rookie in NFL history. By the way, the dirty hit on Jared Goff, you can have it all you want. They called a face mask on a guy that was pulling someone's shoulder about a couple minutes later. So one way or another, it all comes back around. But Washington Commanders, underdogs. No one, not a soul, not even me. I said all week, my fan heart wanted the Washington Commanders to win, but my logical football mind saw the task at hand and how difficult it would be. But we came out, man, and thanks to Jared Goff. Jared Goff, hey, you're our best player, dude, and you really showed it out there. You are the Commanders' best player, and the impact that you have on this team is amazing. Jared Goff, you know, at the end of the season, I hope you get a team MVP trophy for the stuff you've done for us. And you know, it's big as the playoff run goes. It's big work out of Jared Goff for the Commanders. All right, but I've got to talk about Dan Quinn and the coaching calls. We had an early missed fourth down conversion, and he didn't let it scare him. And I love it, man. I love it. We went 3 for 4, 75%. After the first half, we were 3 for 3. In crunch time, in the second, when it matters, when the game's on the line, we completed all of the fourth downs that were in front of us. We even got a free one on a 4th and 2 when the Detroit Lions decided that was the best time to play 12 guys instead of 11. And we had the highest scoring second quarter of any NFL playing NFL playoff game. That's an insane stat. The highest scoring, like one of the highest scoring quarters in NFL playoff history. Also, Jayden Daniels, first rookie ever to have 2 playoff games with 300 plus yards. Total yards. There's so many accolades that have come with this team that I just didn't expect. I'm gonna start crying like I'm giving a speech at an award show. There's just so many things I didn't expect out of this. But nah, it's serious, man. And you know, we talked about it. Let's talk about, this play was insane. Dan Quinn in all his glory, they hit some nasty ones. They had a play similar to this where it was a run to Amon-Ra St. Brown instead of an attempted throw.
Yeah.
And that hit big and it was nasty. But this right here,
why are you having Jameson Williams throw the ball in that situation? That's just stupid.
Man. I get a trick play on 1st and 10, but you gotta work with your man better than that to know not to just chuck it in that scenario, you know?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be
that's a running back downfield. Like, what are you doing?
That was some running back to running back violence, you know? They just wanted to see what would happen. Listen, man, that's a backyard football. Yeah.
We talked about it in the Texans game, but the Lions, they were down. They were down early, but they weren't out of the game by any stretch of the imagination. And no offense to you, Riley, Jahmyr Gibbs was killing y'all.
No, dude, no offense, man. You're just right. He was. They were hitting with him.
And they went away from it. He had 14 carries for 105 yards. He averaged 7.5 yards on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns. And the question you have is, damn, this motherfucker, he's averaging 7 yards a carry. Why are you not giving him the ball? Why are you not giving him the ball a lot more often?
Yeah. Listen, the thing was, it's not even that they went away from him. It's that, they try to mix up, throw some pass in, and this happens.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Cha-ching. Bingo. Dun dun no 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 no.
The pick six.
Wow. That's a gold rush. And that's the thing is like it really was. It was like every time there for a moment, every couple times they went downfield, it was just interception.
Yeah.
Loved the big man doing the fucking "don't touch me" dance. I didn't hit him. I didn't hit him. I didn't hit him.
You know, Riley.
Clean and Farrell. I didn't hit him. I didn't hit him.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
There it is. Helmet to helmet.
No.
Yeah, he went face mask to chest. He wasn't trying to hit him in the helmet. That's just
that's even as a quarterback, as a DB coach, we tell y'all like, hey, when there's an interception, you get your hat and your hands on somebody because that's the only way to make a big explosive play in an interception return. You know?
Yeah.
So and on offense, you know what we tell them? You need to get your head on a swivel.
Absolutely.
Because they are coming for you. You know?
Listen, as an offensive lineman, they teach head on the swivel ideology so hard because it's true, man. This is what happens. That is one of the negative things in football. You would say is that when a big play happens, like a momentum shift, but not just a momentum shift, like a true literal change of direction shift. Like the entire game is now going the opposite way. Yes. That's the kind of stuff that can happen in the wake, and you gotta be aware, man. It's part of football. It's part of football at all levels. These guys have all been playing for a long time, and you got to be aware for that one. But I just in the era of concussions, I'm someone that is very vocal about making like let's have these penalties. If this is going to be part of the rules, let's call this penalty. And this one is just one where it's like he wasn't trying to hit him. He was face mask into the chest.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be like he was trying to hit him in the head when that's how he landed.
At a certain point, that's part of football.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's a violent. It is an inherently violent and dangerous game.
Yeah.
It is a collision sport. It's not a contact sport. If you want a contact sport, go play soccer. Go play basketball. This is a collision sport.
Absolutely, man. This is a car crash sport.
It's a car crash sport. Exactly. Like at a certain point, man, you're going to get hit like that. And you can't fault the defender because they don't want you to go high. Remember that? Oh, defenders can't go high.
No.
Okay, cool. Now they can't go low. Well, if you can't go high, then naturally defenders are going to start to go low. And then ACL tears started skyrocketing. And knees getting blown out started skyrocketing. Well, what do you want the defender to do? At a certain point, he has to tackle him. It's his job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. That's
strike zone tackling. You can only get it in the strike zone. We're playing baseball now.
God, dude, fuck that. But I mean,
you know what else is inherently dangerous?
What?
Quick screens.
Oh no.
Scary Terry.
No. Scary
nightmares.
Terry.
Every single one of them. They all have nightmares.
Damn.
Woo, baby.
Scary Terry.
I mean,
I am very happy for Terry McLaurin. He finally has a really good quarterback.
He has scored a third of his total career touchdowns this season.
He has awesome.
40. He has 40 career touchdowns. He scored 15 this season.
That's awesome.
I just want to this is just a classic. You get two wide receivers out here.
Read this, Riley.
Stress disorder.
Yeah, dude.
We're going to watch it too, man. You get two wide receivers in front of them. They don't even send the big dudes. They just trust the wide receivers, man. That's what kind of energy this team brings. If you can trust your wide receivers on one-on-one blocks in a situation like this, you've got a lot of faith in the pass blocking of your wide receivers, and that's awesome. I mean, that's what you want out of your team.
Absolutely.
A little cut, a little dice, a little dice in. Why? Because they suck all the way to the end zone. I mean,
but just look, bro, like not up at all. I mean, you don't have to send the lineman because there's no DBs out there.
Yeah, dude.
That is just, hey, we're outnumbering them. We have numbers out wide. Just fucking throw it and watch him run. Like that's all that is.
They have that many. We have this many. Oh, our number's bigger. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got a Jeremy McNichols with this absolute bowling ball.
What?
He's like, I won't be stopped. I can't be stopped.
What is your question, Buckrow?
Yo, I don't know, man. Apparently he didn't. He didn't know who he was. The young bull from UNC, De'Ame Brown, Amon-Ra, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, we don't listen to Dan Campbell cry. I don't want to listen to a grown man cry on TV.
Oh, I watched the whole thing last night. It was sad. I mean, shit, Riley. This was a hard game for you, bro. No matter what, no matter the outcome, this was going to be difficult for you because, as you know, we on the TTT, we are basically a Lions show. We love everything about the Lions, and for them to go out like that, it
is heartbreaking. If there is one team, the only other team in the NFL that I would root for over the Vikings or over the Lions this season, it's the Commanders. And by golly, by gosh, if we didn't do it. I just never thought, as a Commanders fan, a lifelong Commanders fan, if you told me that this season, if you told me in August that we'd be in the NFC Championship, I would have cursed you for putting gypsy magic on our season and absolutely would have been sure that we were going 5-12 again.
Riley, you had the number 2 overall draft pick.
Yeah, dude, we weren't good last year. 4-13. That was our final last year.
Damn.
That's not good, dude. There's no way you cut it. 4-13 is rough. That's a bad time. And we went from 4-13 to 12-5. It's mind-blowing. Truly. It's insane the turnaround that the GM staff, Adam Peters and them, the coaching and Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, all those guys, down to the players, man. Obviously, everyone's talking about Jaden Daniels, but Scary Terry, Brian, Mini-Men himself, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler being a pickup coming in, playing fantastic. Frankie Louvu, who we got from the Panthers, who comes out and just has a baller season. Bobby Wagner, a legend, a 13-year veteran who's been who's been in the league, just been a stalwart middle linebacker. He comes in, he's playing his butt off. The pieces and the way that they've came together is insane. And this team just feels like it's on track to do something special. And there's only one team in the way now, and that's the Eagles, a team that we're 1-1 against. Last time they played us, that wafer-thin quarterback named Jalen Hurts went out so fast, no one could even applaud him. And we got to see if he does it again, man. They've been really relying, with full understanding and full knowing why they're relying on Saquon Barkley because he is running like a madman this season. But they are relying on him. And we've shown we've got a game plan that can hem him in.
Do you?
Last time, yeah, sure. Jalen Hurts was out. All they had was Saquon Barkley.
I don't know. They've got more than Saquon Barkley.
Sure, but that's all they did last time. They were like, they had Kenny Pickett had one good drive, but after that, man, Kenny Pickett was not it. So it's not even like they have plenty of weapons, but they got to be able to use them. They got to be able to use them.
Riley's glazing is unreal.
It's top tier. It's the best glazing you've ever seen because it never expected to happen.
This motherfucker worked at Krispy Kreme.
Oh, dude, I know all the secrets to the glaze.
Oh, dude.
I know the dark glaze, the light glaze, but it's always just the right glaze, and that's a fact.
Well,
the Commanders, though, tell me they don't deserve it.
No, dude, I'm absolutely so excited for you. Like, this is the first time in 33 years the Commanders are in the NFC Championship game since 1991, which is
we weren't even born then.
No, we were not. They won the Super Bowl that year, and but I do want to say this, Riley. What?
You know who they beat in the Super Bowl that year?
They beat the Buffalo Bills.
Weird. Keep going.
It's weird, dog. It's crazy.
You were saying,
but because we are still a de facto Lions show here at the TTT,
true.
I'm going to talk about this from a Lions perspective. And this was, Riley, you said it, and I think I agree with you. Just all the Lions injuries that they had over the course of the season, Aiden Hutchinson, basically their entire starting defense is out, except for a few guys like Brian Branch. And it was so bad that especially on the lines of scrimmage, on the D line, they were having to get like third and fourth practice players, like just off the street basically. And they still went 15-2. So you made the case that Dan Campbell should be coach of the year because of that.
Yeah.
And it was a great story. I don't know how you feel about that now.
I still do.
Do you think Dan Quinn or no?
I could make one hell of an argument for Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But what Dan Campbell did with throughout the season, 21 plus injured reserve caliber players. So that's players that spent at least 4 weeks injured throughout the season is unprecedented.
They won 15 games. They were the 1 seed.
And the games they lost weren't, crazy.
No, they weren't.
So,
they were in those games, but it was a great story. And we've talked about it all year. Just, how the Lions just continue to persevere with grit and determination. And the question isn't, would you run through a wall for Dan Campbell? It's how many brick walls would you run through for Dan Campbell? That's the question. And it was a great story, but you just kind of thought in the back of your mind, eventually this is going to catch up to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like tonight or last night was the night that it finally caught up to them because they could not get stops when needed. They could not get stops. And honestly, when you're depleted like that defensively, offensively, and if you're Jared Goff, like you said, you cannot turn the ball over. You cannot give the Commanders that many more opportunities to score when you already know you're playing with one hand tied behind your back. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. It's so true.
Yeah.
And Buck has got a great point. They have to, he's 100% right. Hold your head high.
Mm-hmm.
Lions got to. Great season, incredible work out of them. This is like such it's a heartbreaker. It's an upset, but this is a lesson. And I think, the NFL is probably going to pay for this lesson that they learned. Second, they have a great base. It's a young base, good contracts up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like, they can realistically only get better. They get to invest a bunch of draft capital into only getting more depth and getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And, Dan Campbell doesn't waste picks.
No.
And Buck is so right again, man. The Lions, but forever, dude, they were almost a shame of the NFL. You just don't expect anything out of them.
Well, that's not true, Buck. The TTT expected it. But that's why we're different.
This year.
Yeah.
This year.
No, going back to last year.
Maybe last year.
Yeah.
But our entire childhood, the Lions were a laughingstock. You didn't expect.
Oh, yeah.
Even this year, most people didn't expect them to be good. They were good last year.
Mm-hmm.
Most people didn't expect them to be good this year because they're still the Lions.
Yeah.
That's like, that's crazy that people can't see what they're building over there. 0-16. We all remember the paper bags.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude, like you said, Riley, in our lifetime, the two teams that have, I think, the best case for the worst franchise in the NFL are the Lions and the Browns.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think that the Lions just lost a 45-31, game at home, and people are disappointed by it. Like, that's how far they've come.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I think it speaks on the fan base that it's not even that they're disappointed, they're heartbroken.
They are heartbroken. Yeah.
But hey, these are lessons, man. To be a great team, to be a dynasty, to be a team that can go back to back, you got to lose games like this. Ask Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. We've now covered the Commanders. Let's talk about who they're going to play.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
The Eagles. Go Birds. Lego my Egos. Man, the Rams fought so hard in this game. I gotta say, this is, and I can say this. You can say this about pretty much every game, except maybe the Commanders game. It felt like the losing team in all these games, statistically, and like throughout the game, they should have won. I mean,
the Lions definitely had a chance at some point.
The Lions did have a chance. They were winning, but by the end of it, the stats weren't as bad as, like, I guess what I mean is all the other teams, the losing team statistically outnumbered in almost every category. Like the Texans, they had more first downs than the Chiefs. They had more yards than the Chiefs. In this case, you get the same thing with the Rams, out yardage them, out first downed them.
Yeah.
Arguably, I mean, not even, I guess, very similar third down conversions, very similar fourth down. But, you get these losing teams putting up so much effort just to come through, with turnovers being the case in most of them, except for the Texans.
Yeah.
Texans had penalty problems. The Los Angeles Rams, they had snow and sleet problems. It was an ugly game in the league. I mean, look at this. This is kind of the ice later in the game, but you can just see the state of the field as Saquon slips and slides his way to the end zone. I mean, this is just, look at that field, man.
Why is it every time the Eagles play in a snow field like that at home, their running back goes off? Because remember the LaShawn McCoy game against the Lions a few years ago? Matthew Stafford was the quarterback of that game, too.
Kids see ghosts sometimes. Spirit. But yeah, man, this is, here we go. This is what they were dealing with right here. Boom. Ball out easy. It's snowing. It's still wet. It's not all snow. It was like, they were saying it was like a solid mix.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what these kind of conditions do, man. The ball's slippery. Little plays make big impacts. And I mean, it's just one of those where you're looking for a reason. And by the way, this is how it starts. This is early in the game. Look at how the field starts looking.
That's insane. You're like, oh, it's just barely raining.
Yeah. Little did they know it was going blizzard.
That's insane.
Man, I mean, also this play is insane. Jalen Hurts. He's like, my ankle doesn't hurt anymore.
I don't have a concussion anymore.
My head doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
He's recovering. Actually, I mean, throughout the season, he's kind of had to recover from both of those. So, I mean, he does look to form at this point. That is something you got to say.
To form.
Yeah, no, to form. He looks too formed.
Oh, I thought you said deformed. Okay.
No, not deformed. He looks
Okay.
too formed. He is playing this game the way he needs to. I mean, the Lions. I was thinking Matthew Stafford. The Rams, man, they really did. They gave the Eagles just about all they could handle, though, to be honest. Yeah. Like
they did.
It came down to the very end. Let's watch the ISA late one. I mean, on a 3rd and 2, just to get sacked like that is insane.
The war crimes, bro.
Jalen Carter. He came in speeding.
War crimes. That's a good point, Buck.
Yeah, dude. I agree with that 100%, man. This is and you're right. And it's similar, but they're also in similar positions. It's these veteran superstar running backs going to a new team, and how is it going to be when they're with a different organization? But you're right, man. The Eagles, they definitely had what everyone expected out of the Ravens, at least what I expected out of the Ravens. Not to say that the Ravens didn't have a great season, but Saquon Barkley, dang near breaking the record, is insane.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, this game, though, it was just a grind, It was a grind. Fumbles were really kind of the swan song for the Rams. They gave 2 away.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, 26 carries for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that's all you got to say.
That's 7.9 yards a carry, dude. Yeah. That's 8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs, we talked about it. He had 14 carries for a $105. See, the Eagles, they kept on giving the ball to Saquon. It's crazy what happens when you give the ball to your running back who is just on a fucking heater with the offensive line. Like, isn't that crazy, Riley?
I think it's insane. I can't believe that happened. But no, it really is, man. Saquon and that offensive line. See, you see what it is when you have a team and an offensive line that's played together. They're cohesive. They know what each other are going to do. They can read teams together because they just have that chemistry. Mm-hmm. And you see what they do, man. It's very hard to bother the Eagles' offensive line.
Yes.
And the Rams, I mean, they did 7 sacks, but it was like, at the end of the day, how much did it matter? It was in these moments where they were mitigating, all this other stuff. 7 sacks for 63 yards is big numbers, but they couldn't stop Saquon Barkley, so he just made up for it every time.
Yeah.
Or penalties. I mean, just, always being there to shoot themselves in the foot this game. Classic crazy, Rams. Man. Very classic Rams.
I mean,
very classic Sean McVay.
The Rams are really young, though. I know Matthew Stafford's older, Cooper Kupp's older, but they have Puka Nacua. They have Kyron Williams, who's a second-year player. They have that young defensive line with Jared Verse, my guy, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk. Like, they have those dudes up front. And those dudes ate. They, like you said, they got to Jalen Hurts 7 times. And the Rams have a very bright future, you know? And
yeah.
I mean, as long as we talked about it during the game, Riley. Like, Matthew Stafford almost led that team back. Like, he was driving them when they absolutely had to have it, and then just I don't really know what that throw was.
Sacked on 3rd and 2 is insane.
Yeah, and then it was just right up. It was right up the A gap, bro. Just Jalen Carter, he was basically unblocked, and just a quick little chip, and he's in the backfield. And then this last play, just a bad throw. I don't really think he should have thrown that. But, the Rams, they almost got it done, dude. And they have a bright future, like I said.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen, it's a young squad. Really, they need very minimal tooling. Everyone in the league pretty much this year needs some offensive line work, aside maybe the Eagles.
You can never go wrong with offensive linemen.
Yeah. And they definitely need some secondary help, I would think. Linebackers, maybe not necessarily like secondary, like their linebacker play just seems slow. It really shows when you're playing a team with a run game like the Eagles. And, I think there's a lot of kind of the exposing that they got. But Sean McVay's a good coach. He's also a young coach. He's, known for being very creative. They're just a few pieces away from being an absolute danger for anyone that wants to step up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But now we got to get to the final game.
All right.
I think it was probably the best game out of all of them. All of these games were great games, by the way.
They were. All of these games were great games.
Yes.
This one, you're right. I mean, it came down to essentially a drop 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
You can see it right there. I mean, it's insane how close this game really was at the end. And this running game out of Baltimore, obviously that was going to be the big worry.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of a crazy sentence, but to only allow 176 Buffalo, I mean, that's kind of him and that team in. I mean, keeping Derrick Henry under 100 yards is kind of a challenge this season. Few teams don't do it. And on the other end, the Buffalo Bills running back by committee their way to 147 yards total. Josh threw for 127. That's insane.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson was kind of slanging it too. But it was really just like so many fumbles and an interception out of Lamar. The turnovers. We talk about it.
Turnovers. It was the turnovers.
The turnovers, that is the killer. It will do it every time with no prejudice. It doesn't care. The turnovers battle will murder you.
Turnovers don't give a fuck about how you feel.
Yeah, dude. Turnovers don't care where you were born, who your family is. They're just they're just there to cause problems.
They are.
But, the Ravens, I mean, they came out on fire too. I mean, it wasn't even like, boom, that was their opening drive. It ended in that touchdown. And you're like, oh, okay.
Damn.
They're working like that.
Yeah.
That's the energy. And it's one of those where it's just, a Lamar Jackson fumble because once again, it's cold. There's snow in the air. It's a little wet. Things aren't perfect. No. This kind of stuff happens.
Yep.
Lamar isn't sure. Boom. Loses the ball because it's cold. And the Bills, they just get to, they get to capitalize on it.
Damn. That is a statement from Buck Rowe.
I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Josh Allen sucks so bad. He has an incredible offensive line around him.
He does.
He has, honestly, he has such a good offensive line. It really doesn't matter who you have around him. And I feel like they get schemed. They just get in these weird play calling things where they're just not helping themselves ever. Obviously they've been winning at 13-4. You can't say that they don't know how to win. They do know how to win. But It feels like they cause themselves a lot of trouble on the way to winning.
Yeah.
And you just get Josh Allen's big body just to, he's just he's Cam Newton, dude.
He is Cam Newton.
He's just a Cam Newton ripoff.
Yeah.
But he doesn't type as cool.
No.
Yeah, damn. That's probably the hardest tank I think I've ever had. Josh Allen is just a Cam Newton ripoff. But, there's some great highlights from this game, dude. Both teams balled out. That's what you expected out of two of the top of the AFC.
The Ravens coming back, they didn't get the 2-point conversion there. but they had a chance to tie it right there, and they just, they were 0 of 2 on third down conversions today. And then obviously everyone's going to remember the Mark Andrews drop, but it's just
Mark Andrews definitely had a rough game. I mean, this is a fumble of his as they're driving in a situation that they could take the lead instead of having to rely on a touchdown and 2-point.
But that's a great play.
It is a great play. And
that's just a straight up punch out.
Yeah, no.
That's a punch out. Like
Mark
that's
Andrews
a great play by the
Mark Andrews isn't going to think that. He's going to hate himself. I can only imagine. He seems like that kind of competitor. And this is, you're right. I mean, that's a beautiful peanut punch.
Yes.
I mean, he delivers it right to where it needs to go. But, it doesn't help Mark Andrews.
No.
And
Mark
then
Andrews
you get this. This is just a classic piece of Lamar Jackson work.
Yeah.
A beautiful touchdown to Isaiah Likely. Yep. I mean, I thought this was so good. I mean, that's
I thought he got it, dude. I thought he got it.
Everyday play. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Seriously. That's an everyday play for this team. I mean, this is.
I mean,
you can see the look on his face, how bad he's wide open. It's just catch it and walk in.
Yeah.
Catch it, turn around and land in it.
Yeah.
The Bills, they're so lucky, dude. They're so lucky. Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback that is in only luck. It does remind you of Peanut Tillman.
Yeah.
Top 5 luckiest quarterback in NFL history.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just got a lot of animosity towards the Bills. I don't know why. But they played a great game. At the end of the day, this was an absolutely amazing game. It lived up to all the hype that you expected out of these two offenses, especially. I mean, you wanted this to be a battle. And I think that's, 100% what we got. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
And the Buffalo Bills, man, with the help of some turnovers and lots of Ravens penalties, they make this game, their next step towards a potential Super Bowl berth.
You have to give the Bills credit, and I get it. Mark Andrews is going to get a lot of shit in Baltimore, and some of it is warranted. But Lamar Jackson also did not play well in the first half.
Yeah, he did have a rough first half. I was going to say, he definitely turned it back. By the end of the game, he had turned that shit back. But you're right, they got in a hole early under Lamar Jackson's watch.
And, he had the fumble that Von Miller picked up and almost scored on. Yeah. Von Miller just makes plays in playoff games. He's kind of like Travis Kelce, but on defense. Like
he's the defensive Kelce.
He won a Super Bowl MVP with the Broncos. Like, Von Miller just makes plays.
This time the Cam Newton ripoff is on his team instead of the other team. Exactly. That's why they're so successful.
But it just did you see what Lamar said at the end of this game, by the way, in his press conference? I love Lamar to death. Let's
see.
He said, "I'm sick of this shit."
Oh yeah.
I do have to take issue with that because it's like I get that you're tired of it, but you only have yourself to blame because in most of Lamar's playoff games throughout his career, he has not played well. He turns the ball over multiple times. Like, he could win his third MVP this year. People are saying he might win the MVP this year. So that'd be a third MVP for Lamar Jackson, and you've yet to get it done in the playoffs. Like, that's on you, dog. You can be sick of it all you want, but at the end of the day, you have to play better. You can't turn the ball over like that. That's what this game came down to. People are going to give Mark Andrews shit, and I hate that for him because I love Mark Andrews. But Lamar has to play better. He has to.
Yeah, he's got to play 4 quarters. I mean, that's what it takes to win a playoff game. 4 quarter football. And, the regular season, that's where you play 2-quarter football. If you're gonna play 2-quarter football, that's where it needs to be. But if you're going to want to win at this point in time in the year, it's got to be 4-quarter football or nothing.
Has to be.
All right. Well, real quick, we're going to look at the remaining bracket. Obviously, we have Chiefs versus Bills and Eagles versus Commanders. That's next weekend, next Sunday.
Hey,
I mean, 2 incredible games.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Xavier Worthy is going to go the fuck off. And they're going to have no one to blame but themselves. If Xavier Worthy does what I think he's going to do, and I predicted this back in April when the draft happened, we made a whole ass video on it. Go watch it. Bills Property Franchise. Xavier Worthy is going to catch a either game-winning or game-sealing, big play, touchdown, whatever. It might be a backbreaker, whatever, to seal a victory for the Chiefs, and the Bills are going to have no one to blame but their dumbass selves. That's what I think is going to happen.
You know what? I think you're right. I think it's going to be a jet sweep.
A jet sweep.
I think it's going to be a jet sweep.
That he just goes untouched 70 yards for.
Yeah, he's going to break a fat jet sweep, 70 yards right down.
Hell yeah.
And, of course, on the other side, we have the Eagles and Commanders. That one's going to be in the link. That's going to be an amazing game. The rubber match, a 1-1 series. Let's see not only who can take the real series, now we get a third match to see who really is the best team. Yeah. But the stakes have never been higher. The winning prize is a trip to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Exactly.
I mean, it's an insane slate of games that we have ready for next weekend. But before you get to next Sunday, there's one thing in the middle. Hope you like that.
Yep.
We have tomorrow night the College Football Playoff National Championship. Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I mean, we'll just do a quick little breakdown here. I'll go first. I think, this is one it's such a hard game to pick. Honestly, I'm going to ride the Notre Dame wave here.
Notre Dame, okay.
I think I'm riding the Notre Dame wave just off of the ferociousness of their defense. And I know Ohio State's got so many weapons. Judkins, Henderson, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Ibuka. You got to pick your poison with that squad, dude. They've got so many.
They do.
But there is an energy around that Notre Dame team that it feels like they just shut down other teams' playmakers, Yeah. And it's not even it's just tenacity, it's energy, it's focus. That team never seems to be lacking when the moment is at its biggest, unless your name is Northern Illinois.
True.
But
True.
They went 14-1, which is not an easy thing to do. That one loss being the worst team on their schedule. From there on, they faced decent or better squads for a whole season, including smushing both of our service academies on their best seasons in recent history.
True. Notre Dame hates the troops, bro. They hate America.
They hate America, and I love them for it. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
But no, Notre Dame is, I mean, that's a mean team, and I really just want to see everybody hate on Ryan Day. So I'm going Notre Dame.
Riley, why do you want that dude to have to chop his dick off? Why do you want that to happen? Come on, man.
Maybe that's the real reason I picked Notre Dame, you know? I just want to see chaos.
That's fair. I typically pick chaos, but
Buck's going to Ohio State.
I've seen this Ohio State team in person because I went to the Ohio State Tennessee game, and I may or may not have snuck into the stadium. Anyway,
bad boys.
And I watched this Ohio State team absolutely dominate and destroy a really great Oregon team. They were undefeated in the regular season. They won the Big Ten. When they play like that, nobody in the country can beat them. I don't care if it's Georgia, Bama, Texas, Oregon. Nobody in the country can beat them when they play like that. The reason I'm picking Ohio, I don't think they're going to play like that. But the reason I'm picking Ohio State is because Notre Dame, you know what they play the majority of in their back end, Riley?
What do they got?
They play man coverage across the board for a majority of their snaps defensively. And if you do that against this Ohio State group of wide receivers, this group of NFL wide receivers, they are going to torch you. I think Notre Dame would be foolish to do that. I don't think they will, but they're going to still play some kind of man coverage like throughout, not all the time, but they're still going to play man coverage because at a certain point, you're not going to change up everything you do.
It's still the bread and butter. You can't.
It is their bread and butter.
You can't move entirely away from the table.
And what I saw that Ohio State team do defensively to Texas and a really good Texas offense with Steve Sarkisian, they shut them down, especially in the red zone. Notre Dame's not going to score touchdowns. They're going to kick field goals, and Ohio State is going to maybe blow the doors off. I don't think this game is particularly close, especially if you leave Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss, all like just one-on-one, they're going to torch you. I picked Ohio State to win the national championship. I'm not going to back down now. I like Ohio State.
All right. You heard it from the doctor. You heard it from Puddin'. Watch it for yourselves tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But as for us in this stream, I think we're going to wrap it up here, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the comments, for the engagement. We appreciate it. We love it. We're going to be back with more. The season's almost over, but the off season is just another chance to get better. And damn right, we're going to keep growing.
Also, shout out to y'all. We had our first ever video. What a way to break in the new year. We had our first ever video go over 10,000 views, and it's still growing.
Still growing.
We have a record number of subs in the past month that we've seen. Like it's awesome. We really appreciate it, guys. We do it for y'all. So please, if you love football, if you know someone that loves football, tell them to come check us out,
Absolutely.
Come
the
join
Trash
the
Talk Tailgate.
Trash Talk Tailgate, dog. We love it.
Peace, folks. We're out of here.